88.2. All right, so we're talking about, you said you're talking about abortion.
I wanted to talk about abortion. So here's the situation. I keep trying to convince Rick to leave the Democrat Party and vote for Trump. And so one of the things I've managed to squeeze out of him is that he's against abortion in the third trimester. Well, it turns out the Democrat Party in New York and Virginia and several other states, which I don't know the names of, are now supporting and passing laws to legalize third trimester abortion.
In what cases? Not universally.
No. Okay, here in New York, you can now have a third trimester abortion if the mother feels like it. If she says that she could be depressed having the baby. It can be done for psychological purposes. Not life of the mother. Nobody wants the mother to die in childbirth. But in New York, you can now have an abortion in the third trimester, in the 9th month, if it would make you unhappy to have the baby.
Do you have to go to a shrink to
No.
Then you got to show me the article. We got to break and you got to show me the law.
Okay, well, I can tell you this one without having to break, that in Virginia, the law that did not pass was up to and including dilating, that is, the birth process has begun, and it just has to do with if the mother might be depressed. It's purely psychological. And in New York...
Well, who's the sheriff of the mother being depressed?
There is none. They asked him specifically. It was fascinating. They actually said, if the physician thinks she might be depressed, does he need to have a special qualification to prove that she would be depressed? And the bill said no.
But you do need a physician to go to bat for you.
Well, but the argument is, what emotional state would override the life of a third trimester baby? That is a viable baby, a baby that would live outside the womb. On what emotion could a woman possibly have that would justify murdering that baby?
All right. Well, one tactic that your side uses is to mischaracterize what liberals believe. Like, you like to say that liberals love open borders and that liberals love abortion on demand. So I'm a little skeptical about this.
Well, all right, let's break and look it up then. It's not easy to,
Okay.
It's not hard to prove this.
All right, let's break it really quick.
All right.
Rolling. Okay, so 88.3. We did some reading over and the debate centers on two words.
No, but they don't know what we're talking about.
We're talking, all right, in New York, a law was passed that, as far as I understand from what I read, the previous law said abortion shall be prohibited after 24 weeks from gestation, from the time you got knocked up, unless the mother's life is threatened. And the new law says prohibited after 24 weeks unless the mother's life or health is threatened, which conservatives are saying, well, what if it's her mental health? And you get a doctor to say she's going to be depressed if the baby is aborted, and you got to get rid of the baby because it's going to make the mom sad. And then doctors and liberals on the other side are saying, no, that's not what the law means. The law means that, that if you can't do a cesarean, if all these, in the unlikely event that there's something going on towards the, towards the end of being pregnant, that's it's not just because the mom feels bad. She can get a doctor to say she'll feel bad if she has a baby. That it has to be a serious risk to the mom.
Okay, so my problem is that is the same problem with the. I have the same problem that all the opponents of third trimester abortion have, and that is that by saying that an abortion is allowed any time during the pregnancy, if the health of the mother is at risk, they have deliberately kept it vague because they don't say whether it's mental health. And the bill in Virginia that did not pass did include mental health, and it included it up to the dilation. So if they really want it to be, if they really want to ban third trimester abortion, unless it's the life of the mother or health of the mother, then they have to be more specific. They can't just say unless the health and leave it vague.
Yeah, I kind of
see
do.
what I'm saying?
I kind of agree with what you're saying there, though. The New York people are saying it brings it in line with the language used in Roe versus Wade or in federal law.
Well, there is nobody on either side that I'm aware of. I mean, that believes that a woman should be forced to have a baby if her health is at risk.
If her life is at risk.
No, even her health.
Okay,
I mean, in other words, if a woman was in many cases, a doctor has to choose between the life of the mother or the life of the baby.
Or if if the mom's going to have a stroke, if she.
Right. But what I'm saying is, on the actual birthing table, there have historically, in the evolution of man, we humans have had to decide whether to take the life of the mother or the baby, but not be able to save both. And no pro-life advocate believes that. I certainly don't believe that we should let mothers die to save the baby. So the problem with this bill is, since that was never an issue, why did they pass a bill now that has this very vague term that could be misunderstood as the emotional health? That's my point, is that they deliberately left it vague because they want to include emotional health, which is what they're doing in other states, including Virginia.
I don't know if I agree with that, because they said they added the words life or health, the or health being the new words, to bring it in line with federal law. So I don't think it's a sneaky way to bring in a new opportunity for people to have second thoughts about being pregnant when they're 38 weeks in.
Well, I think it is because, I mean, they did that in Virginia. Now, obviously, Virginia may be not coordinating with New York, but Virginia and I believe 2 other states are including mental health. And let's get to the crux of my argument, though, and that is that both of these things are being done by Democrats. So in other words, there are no Republicans that are trying to further the extent of legal abortion into the third trimester. So my argument is, are you at odds with your party on this?
No, and even that law, the way written, I agree that it could use clarification. Though I could see why politically they wouldn't want to clarify, but I don't think it's designed to turn liberal states into paradises of willy-nilly abortion. I think rather I don't think that's the deal. I also think the law is, as written, is obsolete because that 24 weeks thing was probably written when 24 weeks of gestation was the limit of viability. That no baby younger than 20, that no fetus younger than 24 weeks since conception was viable. But now you can get babies that are viable thanks to advanced medical technology, as far back as like 21 weeks or 20 weeks. So that law, as written, is kind of at odds with the current conditions anyhow.
Well, I mean, I believe you can get a fetus to live at 2 weeks if you incubate it properly.
No, because we don't have the technology to do that yet.
Well, what about test tube babies?
No, well, that's not how a test tube baby
They
works.
have to go in a woman?
Yeah, a test tube baby is you knock up an egg, you fertilize an egg outside the womb, you let it, split and split again, and until you get like a blastocyte or whatever of like 16 or 32 cells, and then you implant that thing.
All right. Well, what I'm saying is this: viability. My understanding is that in the 9th month or the 8th month, viability was you can take it out of the mother and it'll live.
Yeah.
Without extraordinary measures, without the most sophisticated technology.
And people on the side of this bill are saying, by no means does this mean that you're going to kill a viable baby.
Well, as I say, but that is what it meant in Virginia. The Democrats.
According to whom, though?
There is a very, very famous viral video of the bill sponsor. I think her name was Tran, Representative Tran in the Virginia Assembly or Senate.
You don't believe in trans, so I'm not going to.
And they were saying that she said that it could be up to dilation, and it could be, and they left out the word mental health because it could be mental or physical health of the mother.
Well,
so what I'm saying is the
maybe
Democrats.
She's kind of an idiot.
But unfortunately, that's what the Democrats are all supporting. There are no major Democrats disagreeing with this now.
Yeah, but
your party is on record now as being in favor of 3rd trimester abortion.
Not really. And you guys like to overstate what we're in favor of or misstate. Like you love to say.
Don't change the subject.
All right, well, I'll stay on the subject. You love to say that liberals, if you let them get away with it, will just say abortion, anything short of your 4th birthday is okay. And that's not the case. The commentary I read in a few minutes, nobody's saying kill a 9.
Do you want to see the video on trans? Let's stop the tape. I got to.
All right, sure. Okay,
I'll tell you about something you don't know about. Let's
watch Tran. 8.3 or 4 or some fucking thing. All right.
No, I get to talk.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so on the break, I found a tape of Representative Tran of Virginia saying that abortion would be allowed up to the point of dilation if a woman's mental health would be badly affected by it. She could still request an abortion. Now, my point is, no major Democrats have come out against this to condemn this. So Rick is part of a party where in New York and Virginia, the mental health of the mother can be a justification for an abortion up to the 9th month.
Except that
possibly not in New York, but in New York it's sketchy as to whether it's the mental or the physical health, and if it is the physical health, the law is so vague that it could be that it just affects her physical health a little bit. We don't even know. And the law in Virginia didn't pass, but my point is that if the Democrat Party is against 3rd trimester abortion, why aren't they condemning this? You can't just say, you can't just have Democrats going all over the country raising, hell, and then saying, well, the Democrat Party really doesn't want this. I mean, earlier, for example, you said the Democrat Party is not in favor of open borders when they refuse to build a wall. I mean, how could it be more obvious? In other words,
Well,
my argument is that your party is in favor of is not condemning third trimester abortions. Your party is not building a wall, so they are in favor of open borders.
You guys had control of all branches of the government for 2 years and you couldn't get any money. Like the Republicans are the ones who don't want to build a wall. You had 2 years to get funding for the wall through.
Okay,
and
Rick, the president is a Republican. He's important. And
Senate
he's
Republican.
He's now shutting down the government to try to force the Democrats to get a wall built.
66% of Americans, according to a poll I saw this morning, are not in favor of another government shutdown to get the wall.
It's irrelevant. And I'm trying to point out to you that you would like a wall built, but the Democrats don't want it. You're against third trimester abortion, but the Democrats are for it. And in spite of the fact that these actions are actually being taken by governmental representatives, you refuse to believe it. You're deluding yourself.
1.3%. One abortion in 75 takes place after 24 weeks. Less than 1% are actual third trimester abortions. And in almost all cases, those abortions, I'd say probably in more than 95% of cases, those abortions are the result of a medical tragedy. Either the baby has no brain or isn't going to be viable outside the womb, or it will kill the mom if the pregnancy continues. Nobody is in favor of willy-nilly abortion after 24 weeks.
Except that when this Democrat brought this bill before the Virginia legislature, no Democrat condemned it. And it included mental health of the fetus up to the
Yeah, but you guys are building a spurious situation where a woman is in labor and decides, doctor, can you kill this baby for me because I feel bad.
But that's what she did. And none of
that's not a real situation. That doesn't happen. And even if a mom said that, and even if the mom was feeling bad, and the doctor agreed she was feeling bad, no doctor no OBGYN would say, oh yeah, let's kill the baby. No, at that point, you give birth and you decide whether to put up the baby for adoption.
That's not the law, Rick. That's not the law that the Democrats passed.
But
this is what you're imagining.
You conservatives are constructing this bullshit situation so you can say that Democrats, by failing to condemn this hypothetical, are running around going, yay, we get to kill babies all the way up to birth. Which is bullshit. It's just rhetorical bullshit.
It isn't bullshit.
And that bill doesn't pass. And I guarantee you that to get a bill like that to pass in Virginia, they will need to clarify the language. And that they will also need to clarify the language in any state.
They didn't clarify it in New York.
Yeah, but they're not doing abortions on demand 1 minute before birth. That's not a thing. It's not a fucking thing. It's not a freaking thing.
It will be permitted if the health of the mother is a consideration.
Yeah, you know what?
And we can't define health.
I can walk around.
The bill does not define health.
I can walk around with assless chaps. I can walk around with jeans where the ass is cut out, my ass is hanging out, and probably not get arrested. But am I going to do that? No. Are doctors going to frickin' abort babies in the middle of being born? No. It's bullshit. It's just rhetorical bullshit to say that Democrats are in favor of abortion willy-nilly, it's crap.
Why don't they, Rick, can you please let me speak? Why don't they condemn that? Why don't they say, you know what? we are against abortion unless serious physical harm to the mother, and we're against mental health provisions that would allow abortion. Why not? Why don't they just do that? Why don't they just say that? Why don't they put that in the bill? Why are they keeping it vague, Rick? And why in Virginia are they specifically doing the opposite of what you just said?
Well, the bill didn't pass, and they cornered the woman, and they got her to admit. And
they got her to admit something that you can't admit right here because you're so brainwashed.
You think it's part of an agenda.
Well, God, excuse me. I'm crazy enough to think that if they have a bill in the House...
Yeah, you are crazy enough to think.
Yeah, I'm crazy enough to think that if they have a bill that says that you can abort a woman during the birthing process over your mental health, I actually believe them. I'm sorry.
Think that's
what it says. That's what the person trans said is in the bill. She's admitted it on camera.
And you're crazy enough to think that would actually happen.
No, I'm crazy enough to think that if you make something legal, then it's legal.
So
Sorry.
Can I ask what's the ulterior motive, Lance? Why do you think that, don't turn the camera. I'm like you, just speaking. If there is an ulterior motive, what do you think it could possibly be? Like to say that it's okay to, in your opinion, murder a baby?
Yeah, I mean, Representative Tran said that if a woman has a danger to her emotional health up to the point of dilation, this Democrat says it should be okay to have an abortion.
No, she didn't say that. She
just said it.
She said she said the language she implied that the language of the bill permits that.
Yes.
In practical terms.
Yes.
Why do you think Democrats would want a baby aborted in the middle of being born? Why would anybody in the world want that?
Why?
What's the agenda here? What's the fucking agenda?
I don't know.
You
tell me. No, all right. Can I answer the question?
Yeah.
Because here's the problem. Democrats believe that any restriction on abortion is going to ultimately restrict all abortion. And so they want abortion to be normal. They want it to be completely free of any moral judgment, and that includes making fine distinctions like which month you have the abortion in. And I know that because there's not a single Democrat in the public eye, not Clinton, not Obama, not the governor of New York. None of them have come forward and said, we are against third trimester abortion. These bills are supported by the Democrat Party. And the reason, I assume, is that the Democrats are more concerned with the cause of feminism than they are with the life of the infant.
All right, fine. So you've thrown down the gauntlet. Over the next week, I'll see if I can find some countervailing examples.
Well, actually, you can't, because
but maybe
in Chicago, Obama actually is on record when he was in the state Congress. I think he was a state senator, or I don't know if he was a representative or a state senator, but he's on record as having supported partial birth abortion. That is, abortion in the 9th month. So we know what Obama thinks.
What? Yeah, under any circumstance? No.
Well, there is no law anywhere that says if the woman's going to die, you have to have the baby. You kill the mother.
Yeah, all right.
So it must have been just abortion on demand in the 3rd trimester.
No, I don't believe that. But anyway,
well, we can look it up.
We'll move on from that. We've already spent a bunch of time. We've already had.
All right, and I just want to say, your buddies, the illegal aliens, they have actually started an outbreak of typhus in Los Angeles, a very painful death.
Oh,
now that's
bastards. Those
yeah,
bastards.
Yeah, and and measles.
Oh wait, no, where measles comes from. Measles comes from idiots who don't vaccinate their fucking kids.
And guess what? And guess what, Rick? Wait, please don't talk. Guess what, Rick? People that bring children over the border because there's no wall, those little children are not vaccinated. Don't interrupt me. They are not vaccinated with measles and mumps and typhus. And as a result, your buddies, the little children that are coming over because there's no wall, they are bringing with them measles and mumps and typhus. And in Los Angeles, we have an outbreak of typhus.
Okay, so vaccinate the kids.
No, you can't vaccinate them. They're coming in without being apprehended. They're dissolving into the community because we don't have a wall to stop them.
Okay.
Because the Democrats won't fund a wall.
All right, nice. Waves of typhus kids, or just armies of typhus
Yes,
kids. Are coming over
yes.
the-
There are thousands of kids coming over the border right now because we don't have a wall.
Nah.
And they're bringing typhus with them.
Okay. All right, I heard something.
Why is it that the Democrats won't build the wall, Rick?
Because we think there are less stupid ways to frickin' protect the border.
The Border Patrol says they want a wall.
Yeah, the congressman, the Republican congressman, whose district covers nearly 1/3 of the border between Mexico and the U.S., the Republican Texas congressman, whose border covers 610 miles of the border, whose district covers that, says, no, his people don't want a wall. He doesn't want a wall. He's a Republican.
Yeah, I'm not basing this on what the congressman that may have a huge number of people voting one way or the other.
Republican district.
Yeah,
they
yeah,
elected the guy. They want more,
okay,
less.
okay.
They want
So you
less.
don't want a wall. So now you don't want a wall.
No, I want
So
reasonable means.
you said you wanted a wall. Now you say you don't want a wall.
I want a wall where a wall works.
Okay, why doesn't Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell?
Because now it's a political
why doesn't
football where
Nancy-
each side.
Why doesn't Nancy Pelosi fund a wall where a wall works?
Because now it's been sufficiently politicized that neither side is willing to yield. So I'm not going to have
No,
this
wait a minute,
argument
wait,
again.
Wait a minute. Why don't they do what America needs? A wall. You just said you're in favor of a wall.
55% of Americans are now
I
not
don't
in
care what
favor of the wall.
Americans say. The Border
So
Patrol
you
wants a wall.
you're anti-democratic.
Why
You
is
decided
it-
America needs a frickin' wall, even though a majority of Americans.
You decided. You said you wanted a wall where a wall works. You just said it 30 seconds ago.
Yeah, a lot of people say that.
Okay, so
including the
why
Democrats.
are the Democrats not funding a wall where a wall works?
They've offered 1.3 billion for
That's not
border
enough.
security.
That's not enough.
Well,
the
if it
engineers,
weren't a political football, and if it weren't called the wall, then they would offer more billions of dollars.
Well, okay, let me get this straight. So the reason that the Democrats are letting typhus into the country is because Trump is using the wrong word.
Yeah,
You think that's a good reason?
I think this will get.
If you really wanted to stop the typhus from getting into the country, and you really were in favor of a wall, why wouldn't you just build the wall?
Because a wall where the wall works.
Yeah, why don't they just build a wall where the wall works?
Because
why don't they do that?
We're saying the same shit over and over. I
No,
want to
no,
move on to
but you're
some
not
other
answering.
shit.
You're not answering. You're saying you're coming up with a vague, insane theory. You're saying
No,
because they're
no.
calling it a wall. That's why they won't build it, because they're calling it a wall.
Yeah, I believe
They're
that.
using the wrong word.
Yeah, because Trump stands for
If
the
they
wall.
if they called it an elephant, would that be a better way to describe it? And then they could get it built. If they really wanted it,
Look at the nomenclature that they're using. Trump sometimes calls it a wall, sometimes he calls it increased border security. So that's the other side does the same shit, but now it's a political argument rather than a pragmatic argument. And I hope that sometime in the near future, even though everybody is pretty dug in, that some kind of compromise is reached.
well,
now, I want to move on to
which
some
side is
other-
right? Which side is right?
the side that says that it's a manufactured crisis, that there's
So you
bigger
don't
shit
think
to
there
worry
should be a
about.
wall? You don't think there should be a wall? You said there should be a wall where a wall works, but now
I think
you
there
say
should be
shouldn't.
increased border security.
So you do not think there should be a wall?
No, don't tell me what I think. I think there should be increased border security within reason, including walls where walls work.
Then why doesn't your party fund a wall where walls work?
Because now it's a political football.
But that's
where
not a good
anything,
reason. Rick, that's not a good reason. If you care about the country, you don't say, well, this is a political football. You say, you know what? You guys think we need a wall?
I think,
Rick
all right, here's the
Rosner
deal. I
thinks
think
we need a
Trump
wall.
is bad.
Let's just build a wall.
I think Trump is bad for the country.
Didn't Trump say?
And giving him a victory with something that he calls the wall will increase his political chances.
So even
He's
if it,
worse.
Didn't Trump say there was women with tape on their mouths and?
What you wanted? The Trump was quoting shit that only happens in the movie Sicario Part 2. Yeah, we can talk about that, but I want to talk about something different. I want to change the
80% of the women that come up are raped on the way up, Rick. That's of concern, don't you think?
I don't buy the statistic.
Well, so that's the statistics. I'm sorry, it doesn't matter.
All right, I want to move on to some other shit. I heard on the radio earlier this week, radio and Twitter, that's where all my fucking misinformation comes from. I was told that there are now 14 billion devices in the world connected to the internet. And by the end of 2020, less than 2 years from now, there will be 20 billion devices, smart devices connected to the internet. That's, right now it's 2 devices for every living person on Earth.
Move your arm.
Okay, connected to the internet. By the end of 2020, it'll be almost 3 connected to the internet. And within a few years, the number of new devices connected to the internet, smart devices, and beginning AI, and eventually more sophisticated AI, talking to the internet, the Internet of Things, will increase more than the population of Earth every year. So I ask you, why are you more worried about Muslims and Mexicans than you are about the insane changes that will be wrought to society by technology? How can you think
Rick,
that Mexicans with typhus and measles and Muslims with their non-existent prayer rugs on the border are somehow more disruptive than what will be by the end of the 21st century, the century we're in, more than 1 trillion devices, smart devices, all talking to each other? I mean, we probably won't be alive by the end of the 21st century, but...
Rick, if people, and by the way, these aren't just Mexicans, there are people from all over the world using the southern border as a way of getting in. They just found Interpol has just announced that they found new terrorists are in the caravan. People from, I don't know which countries, but they're not Mexican, that are coming in the caravan that's approaching the border right now.
What did Interpol say specifically?
They said that there are people that they want for terrorism that are approaching the border in the caravan. There's a caravan.
They're terrorists, or they come from countries that
No,
support
they're
terrorism?
actually people that are wanted for terrorism,
Oh,
and they have escaped. They have evaded capture.
All right,
and
so
are part of the caravan.
all right, show me
coming up
what
to the
Interpol said. We'll break.
Do
for
I
a
have to look
second.
that up?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Top the camera.
Really?
This is like 88.5. All right, so we read up on some stuff, and there's this Interpol Operation Andes or something, and that arrested a bunch of international smugglers of people. And the report from a conservative organization called the Center for Immigration Studies said that 4 of the arrested individuals were linked to fraud, murder, and terrorism. But no information was available about that on the 4 individuals. So it's hard to know what to think. Except, I mean, there's a possibility, yeah, that that these guys are making money. Some of these guys are making money taking people from non-American nations, Americans that are not part of Central and South America, across borders. Though it's this roundup only netted 4 of those people. I know it's 4 people too many, but it's not like wave after wave. Anyway.
Well, Rick, during our last heated exchange, I just want to clarify this. You told me that the Democrat Party was justified in letting typhus into the country if it would deny Trump a political victory.
Yeah, I think Trump is more dangerous than a few cases of typhus.
And you know that Americans die from typhus. Apparently it's a very painful death.
Yeah, how many people have died from this outbreak?
I don't know, but there is an outbreak in Los Angeles. I can look up the numbers of that too, if you don't believe me.
Nah.
So my point is, this is an immoral position, Rick. The United States, the Democrat Party, can't morally maintain that they would rather bring in people that will bring typhus into the United States that could kill Americans than give Trump a victory. Your position is completely immoral.
That's my position.
Okay, well then I think you lack all credibility because you can't tell the difference between right and wrong anymore.
Okay, fine.
All right, so I
so
just
let's-
want, no, wait. Every single time we have a debate about ethics, I'm going to remind you that you would rather bring typhus into the United States to kill Americans than give Trump a political victory.
Yeah, I think Orange Boy is more damaging to the country than typhus.
Okay, Rick, I'm going to ask you again, and I want you to think about this very carefully. Your justification for the Democrats not funding a wall, in spite of the fact that typhus is being brought into the country by illegals, is that it would deny Trump a political victory. And you think that's justified?
Yep.
Okay, very good. Let's have another discussion. Something
All right.
else. Change the subject.
Okay, the governor of Virginia was caught, apparently, though he's now denied it. The governor of Virginia in 1984, about 34 and a half years ago, he was going to med school. His med school had a yearbook. On his yearbook page is a picture of 2 people at a Halloween gathering, I suppose. One's dressed in a Klan outfit with a hood. The other's in blackface. And it's on the governor's page. And he initially apologized. And now he's saying, well, he doesn't remember being one of those 2 people in the picture. And everybody's on both sides, Democrats and Republicans, are saying he should resign. He also admitted to during that same, sometime during the 80s, dressing up in blackface as Michael Jackson, which is kind of ridiculous because by that point, Michael Jackson was not so black anymore. But that's neither here nor there. So what do you think, Lance? And then I'll say what I think. And then I get to be accused of being a hypocrite because I probably am. Go ahead.
Well, first of all, he also is unclear as to whether he actually supported trans bill. Weirdly enough, this guy was in the news twice because he also believed in 3rd trimester abortion in the case of the mother being depressed. So,
well, that's a framework you've hung on that bill.
no,
The
there's
conservatives have hung on the bill.
No, that the Virginia bill did say that.
Yeah, but
That's
you
not a
got, that's
framework.
what you're focusing on, as if sad moms are gonna be killing babies left and
Well,
right.
it's legal. The law has to be clear on what it allows and doesn't allow. You can't, you can't pass a law that makes things very unclear. So he is on record as supporting this law. As far as him dressing up as a Klansman,
Or a black guy, he's not, people, or maybe
yeah.
neither.
Well, he can't really deny it because it was next to his picture. In other words, there's a picture of him in the yearbook, and next to him, there is a picture of someone dressed as a Klansman standing next to somebody in blackface. So it's obviously him.
It's probably him.
Right. So he can't get out of it by saying, you can't tell which one is me. So he's obviously a deceptive person. I'm kind of happy that this happened to him because during the election, he accused his opponent of being a racist the whole time, this Republican opponent. So I'm kind of tickled to see a Democrat hoisted on their own petard that of calling people racist. And then it turns out that he does this incredibly racially insensitive thing.
All right, it's racially
Now,
insensitive,
I'm
but
not done yet.
I don't know that
I'm
it's
not done.
racist. I think it's
Yeah.
a bad idea in that two guys, probably one of them the governor, back 34 and a half years ago, thought, boy, it would be a laugh riot if we did a couple's costume where a black guy is friends with a Klansman. That would be hilarious. Turns out not so much. Does that make him racist? It makes him racially insensitive. It doesn't. I don't know. His situation strikes me as somewhat analogous to Al Franken's situation, in that Al Franken did this boob grab picture for comedic effect, which ended up kicking his ass. And as good liberals, we're supposed to be as outraged when a liberal runs afoul of this kind of crap as when a conservative does. You know, Al Franken does a boob grab picture. This guy, and I'll admit that I'm hypocritical in that I don't find Al Franken as creepy as Roy Moore. Though you could argue that Roy Moore hasn't hit on underage girls in decades.
If he ever did.
Well, kind of probably. I mean, there's quite a bit of substantiation for
No,
that.
there isn't.
He was banned from a shopping mall for saying that guy creeps too much on underagers.
Well, look,
But then-
I'll help you out on this.
Okay, good.
If somebody showed up at a party dressed as Hitler, I would think it was funny, and I'm Jewish. I think it's a shame that we can't kid around about this stuff anymore.
Prince Harry showed up as a party dressed as a Nazi.
Right. I actually find that kind of thing funny. But if it was up to me, I mean, Christ, if a guy dressed up as Hitler and had a guy dressed up as a Jewish concentration camp attendee,
No,
I mean, that would be the height of insensitive humor. But it looks like the guy's going to be forced to resign.
maybe. I don't know if I'd agree that Hitler at a Halloween party is hilarious. Baby Hitler is kind of funny. What's amazing is if you Google Hitler cat, how many cats look like Hitler? But it's not the cat's fault.
I mean, I do wish that we could kid around about this, but as I say, in this case, I'm not the final judge and jury. It's the Democrat Party that is going to have to figure out what to do with this guy. And I think they're going to get him to resign.
Well,
And frankly, after he called his opponent a racist the whole campaign, I just think he deserves it.
yeah, I don't think it's, I think he may have resigned, but I don't know if it's worthy of him resigning. But again, as you say, neither of us are the judge of that. Though I did accidentally dress up as a Klansman in second grade. In second grade, I just learned about dunce caps, and I thought it would be funny to be such a dunce for Halloween that my dunce cap was so huge that it went all the way over my head and down to my shoulders, and that I had to look through the cap via eye holes I cut in it. And so I put this giant white hood on my head, and I and the rest of the school paraded around the playground for parents and teachers, and I had no idea that at that point that I didn't know about the Klan until years later. At which point I was like, "Oh crap!" But
You know, I'll bet you didn't know that the Klan was all Democrats.
well, it was a different time. It was 100 years ago.
No, it wasn't.
Well, all right, 80 years, up to 85 years ago. And then the political party's stances changed.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did.
The Republicans supported the bills to help black people.
Until the civil rights era, and then
No, they did. They supported those bills. They voted in favor of them.
the Democrats.
The majority of Republicans voted in vast numbers in favor of the Civil Rights Act in 1965.
But the Democrats lost the South when Johnson supported the civil rights legislation. And Republicans took over on a racially divisive kind of stance. And how much more time do we have? 3 minutes. What do we want to talk about for 3 minutes?
The Democrats got the Republicans won with Nixon by winning the East Coast and California, which it doesn't prove your point, Rick.
The Republicans followed what was called the Southern strategy.
No, the South went for George Wallace, a Democrat.
A racist Democrat.
Right. Exactly. Thank you.
But right now, in in 2019, it's not the Democrats who are the most racist party.
Really, the Democrats are in favor of bringing in people with typhoid that will kill Americans if it won't give Trump a political victory.
Yeah.
So I guess they're not really in favor of anybody that's American, black or white, because we can all get typhus.
Yeah, we'll do homework. We'll find out how big the typhus thing is.
Well, I don't care how big it is. If people coming over the border by the thousand have not been inoculated, they're going to bring diseases that Americans have inoculated themselves and gotten rid of in the United States.
Maybe in the 2 years it takes between somebody asking for asylum and them being admitted to the U.S., they should get some shots.
Well, I don't know.
Maybe that should be a condition of being admitted to the U.S.
The whole point, though, is that these people are sneaking over the border. That's why we need a wall. They're not going up to the border patrol and saying, "Hey, can you give me a shot?"
No, they are trying
it's naive of you to think that.
Yeah, but you guys have created an artificial crisis by limiting the number of people who can apply for asylum every day.
Yeah, that's because we don't believe that poverty constitutes asylum.
So this typhus shit is at least partially your fault. You're not
you're
not letting people apply for asylum in an orderly way.
You can't apply for political asylum when you're not coming from a war-torn country. And
you guys tighten the rules for asylum.
If you've reached Mexico, you are outside of the war-torn country. You no longer need political asylum.
If you could.
Rick, let me finish. If someone is leaving a war-torn Central American country and they get to Mexico, they have already escaped the political turmoil of the war that they were involved in.
Yeah, that's not how
So they no
asylum
longer,
works.
that is how international law works. In international law, if you're trying to get asylum, don't interrupt me. In international law, if you're trying to get asylum because you're in a war-torn country, as soon as you leave that country, you have achieved, you are no longer in need of asylum.
Yeah, this
You're
is a
already
new-
in Mexico.
This is a new interpretation.
No,
that
that's
the Trump
how it's always been.
administration-
No, that's how it's always been. This
Nah.
law was created by the UN. According to international conferences in the past 20 years, if you're in a country that is in civil war, like say Nicaragua, and you make it to Mexico, you can't skip Mexico and go on to a richer country to ask for asylum. Under international law,
Yeah,
you have
so all of
already
a sudden-
achieved,
so
you are
all
no
of a-
longer in need of
So
asylum.
all of a sudden, Trump decides this is